Huh.
I did it wrong.
Quick question. What fields would knives, uh, not knives, because I'm looking the weapon at the weapon table, and
Uh-huh.
for every knife, it states that it's you even for the large knife, large like that, and those are machetes and similar. It says brawl that it uses as a staff.
Well, knives knives are a
I
little
mean,
tricky.
swords also
Right.
fall under knife large for some stupid reason.
Well, knives are a little tricky.
Oh
They're
yeah.
kind of like lances or spears, mainly because, and pretty much any, even axes too, because a knife you can just attack regularly, which you will use your brawl to attack somebody, but at the same time you can choose to throw your knife.
I mean, my character technically doesn't have a knife. He has a belt sword. Uh,
A sword.
it's just
So is it
it
is it a
falls.
sword?
It according to book, it still falls under a knife large,
Okay, then you're gonna have to
but
go with
it
that.
but not. It's not having it due to its material it's made of. It's not heavy, so it took nice medium for it as a golden middle, so to speak.
Well, it sounds to me
But
like
I don't know if I should.
the sword you're
And I'm
using
going
is not
to.
necessarily in the book. That you're just taking the stat from the book to replace it and use it for that weapon.
There,
So there may be a
it is in a
chance
book.
it is in the book.
It is in a book class, yes, but it's classified under knife large. Believe it or
Then
not, same as a longsword.
okay. So then
Idea why there's a longsword in this game.
all right. So for the hopes of us being able to start playing right now and you being happy to use whatever weapon you decide to use that is not a regular knife, a machete, or a regular old fashioned gun, then go by whatever the book tells you.
But went with the, I'm gonna say golden medium, and I'm
Yeah,
putting the skills for the use of a sword. Because fuck me, but using a sword is not the same as using a knife.
right. So do whatever the book tells you and problem solved. All right. So, um, so we're gonna go ahead and pretty much say that the previous campaign just happened in a multiverse. And the only reason I'm saying that is because some of you probably would have died in the last fight, but you're still here. So therefore, that would account. So it would have been a different universe, but you are here. So let me take a look at the list real quick. What are you? Okay, soldier. Then we have clicked on the wrong thing. Wow, two different soldiers, huh? A waitress, an antiquarian, a professor. Okay, so
Yeah, I'm playing the professor.
no, that's fine, totally fine. All right, so professor, we're gonna start with you then. Might as well. Um, so one day you are teaching class. I don't know what are you a professor of?
Archaeology.
Perfect. All right. So one day you're teaching class at the university, at Arkham University, and suddenly one of your students just seems to have a some sort of I guess what we call it a moment where she stands up and in the middle of the class might have been like 30 people, if that. She just stands up. She doesn't walk up from. She's just standing right next to her seat, to her little table, whatever. And the situation kind of unfolds funny because the person that is right next to them, to her, you kind of told everybody to do some sort of assignment, so they're writing down stuff, and the guy next to her kind of starts talking to her, and I guess you realize that's happening because you hear voices. So you kind of turn around and you're like, okay, well, what are they talking about? Are they cheating? What are they doing? And then all of a sudden, this girl's eyes just roll back, and she starts talking, and she talks in this very antique, ancient language that, do you know any other languages?
Latin and Chinese.
Perfect. Go ahead and roll your Latin. As we all know, Latin is not very commonly spoken, but maybe you are able to catch something of what she says.
Yeah. I had to do the character answer for my character. Yeah, we finished. There we go.
Sure.
See, languages. There it is. Apparently, I'm not good at it.
Well, how do you have just a 1?
I don't know. That was fine.
Go ahead and roll it again and add your points to that. Please.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that was weird.
It's still showing up a 1. It should be a 35. Maybe I can do it manually to fix it.
Yeah, do it again. Do it manually. That's just odd.
There you go.
All right. Well, nonetheless. Anyway, so you're not able to catch on much of what she says. Obviously, you do understand some stuff. And since you didn't pass that, go ahead and roll your luck. Let's see if we can figure it out. At least from there. Good God.
No,
All right.
are terrible.
So you don't catch on much. You do catch on a word, which at first, it gets you somewhat concerned and, I mean, curious, I guess is the right question. Because you're thinking about possibly something meaning curiosity. But then, you kind of have this question wrapped in your mind as to you're wondering what it is. So your character probably want to go look more into that. So what do you want to do about that?
Mm. I'll ask questions if anyone caught more of what she was just saying. Bonus points on the assignment. They can correctly translate it.
Go ahead and roll your
And
luck.
I'll try
again.
and...
See what your luck is. It's nothing. How do you have such low luck? But anyway, no, nobody. Everybody's looking at you like, what? You teach archaeology and you want us to know Latin? I'm like, no, I didn't get anything.
That happened to be the lesson of the day, Latin.
And one of the students just say, hey, you know what? There may be a dictionary at the library That's all somebody says. Eventually, a nurse comes in. This nurse, a little chubby, short. Um, she walks in. She looks at you and says, "Professor," and she just goes to the student and she starts moving her blonde hair to the side and lifts her head up and puts a towel behind her head so she's a little lifted and she's breathing. She's fine. She's very very pale at the moment, and the nurse just looks at you and says, "What happened?"
She must be seizing or having some sort of fit. She stood up and then just kind of collapsed.
That is very strange. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to take her to the to Arkham General for this. But thank you. Are you guys done with the class, or do you guys have longer?
We can call it for today. I think all of us need a bit of a break after that.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So, does your character know? And is your character related to any of the other characters?
I'm
No.
also a professor, so I would probably be a coworker.
Okay.
Okay, maybe then you just happen to be next door teaching, and you kind of overheard the nurse going, running whatever, and you just got out of the classroom and went to look and see what happened, and you kind of found out what's going on. And maybe you were also a good friend of the other professor, where she would feel a little bit more at ease, or he would feel a little bit more at ease of telling you exactly what it was that happened.
So, I dare say, what happened to that poor girl? Did you
What's this?
did one of your students finally snap from your inane rabblings?
Yeah, perhaps, but maybe not today. It was the strangest thing. Her eyes rolled up in the back of her head. She began speaking Latin, but quite fluently. I've read it dozens of times, but hearing it was arcane and strange. I've never seen anything like it. Surely none of your students have collapsed like this, right?
Yeah, they have, but not like that. They collapse from exhaustion, I'm afraid, but I'm the more physical aspect when it comes to archaeology. Because, lo and behold, I also made an archaeology professor. Yeah. But mine does more of the field work, I suppose.
Yeah.
Where was she sitting? As I look over.
I'll point to her desk.
She would have been sitting about the middle of the class conveniently.
Alright. Well, best see what she was getting up to. I dare say I hope she wasn't up nose deep in some nasty sugar, so to say.
Alright, no, she just got her notebooks, a bag there. Go ahead and roll your spot hidden. Very well. You notice that a page sticking out from the notebook. When you open the notebook, showing that page, there's drawings of runes everywhere.
What in God's name? What are you teaching here?
Reliquary studies. And Voodoo just No, you know what I'm teaching. It's the standard 101 class.
Yes, well, last time I checked, this is at least the second year studies at the very least for runic. What? Is this student also happen to be in my class, or?
I don't keep track of
Go ahead and
all
roll
this,
your luck.
Yeah, like maybe they.
Yep, she was in your class too. She maybe was in your class previously to that class.
Yeah, she was in my class last semester. She was decent when it came to the field work.
Mhm.
But, no, I dare say I don't remember showing anyone this.
Stranger and stranger. Have
Let's
you
ask-
brought back any artifacts from the field lately? Sorry to cut you off. Didn't mean to do that.
Oh, no, it's quite fine. No, not as far as I am aware.
And you guys would see something like this. Obviously, I will have many different runes to it. That's the best example I could find online right now.
Yes, no. No, I'm afraid of nothing from Portugal the last time I checked. But, can I do, not anthropology,
Can you do what?
what kind of role would this be to analyze what the runes mean, like a history or something?
Let me see. Just a moment.
Otherwise, we can easily just take this to the library.
Well, if you don't know the language,
I also know occult, though.
okay, try rolling a cold. If you have a cold, roll a cold.
Fuck. Hell, okay. Yes, I dare say, spent too much time in Portugal. I can't get a grip on what any of this means.
Arrow, what's your sanity?
65.
There's no way. There's no way because your Cthulhu mythos only increases whenever you lose sanity.
Okay.
So in order for you to have 30 points of Cthulhu mythos, you would have to lose 30 points of sanity.
I can do that to corrupt it.
Because
and then
you can only get those
character.
whenever you encounter certain things, not at will. Trust me when I tell you, you wouldn't be a professor right now if you had those Cthulhu mythos. You'd probably be a professor trying to plot the end of the world. That will be more believable than you having a class with somebody passing out due to some sort of magical thing without you knowing about it. So maybe you want to move those 30 points to
To occult, maybe?
To occult. Yeah.
In the meantime, why don't you go to the library and figure that out while I make some calls?
Actually, I think I'm gonna
Sounds reasonable enough. Someone should probably check on the girl. So.
You're gonna make some calls? Is that what you said?
Yeah, basically trying to introduce the other players.
That's totally fine.
Okay. I mean, after all, this is a weird situation. I don't recognize this, and this might be something dangerous.
Perfect. So the ambulance shows up. When the ambulance shows up, you notice that these nurses, there's two male nurses. these nurses look a little different than your typical nurse, mainly because they look extremely pale. They have very, very dark bags under their eyes, and they they just they seem like something odd is going on there. You know, it doesn't seem like it's normal. Seems like something's happened. Something's not straight. But you know, they come in, they look at you, they go like, "Hey, excuse me." Well, yeah, we got the stretcher. They roll the stretcher down, roll her in. Look, we're gonna take her to Arkham General. They load her in the van. They kind of mind their own business. They don't talk at all. They just look at each other, and they are so well in sync that it's almost like they know what each other is gonna do.
As gentlemen, are you quite all right? I'm like looking at them.
Um, yeah, we are nurses. We're here to assist this woman. Um,
No,
you know, we
yeah,
came as soon as we found out that this was happening.
has this been happening often? You look quite worse for wear, I must say.
Oh no, I just have some trouble sleeping. You know, I don't sleep well, so I'm permanently tired. This is my normal. He says, and well, I don't know what's going on with him, but this is what happens to me. And the other guy looks at you and says, like, "Oh yeah, yeah, same here. Yeah, I haven't been sleeping much lately."
I'm going to do a psychology on the off chance that I might actually get it. Nope. Well, if you
All
say
right.
so, do take a look into a local doctor or one of them new age herbalists. That might help you out. Have a good day now, and do let us know if the poor dear gets better. She was a student of mine.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no problem. They say, yeah. Her well-being is of our most importance, utmost importance. It's like we won't rest until we get to the hospital, literally.
Yes, I would quite hope so. Just take care of yourselves, gentlemen.
Uh,
As I
Don't
now
lie.
continue going
Thank you.
off
Thank
into
you.
my office.
Something tells me we're gonna be doing much, much better once we finish this job. And they just look at you. They say, "Have a good evening," and they just get on the van and leave. Well, they get on the van. You assume that they leave because they're not in the room anymore.
Strange,
So
strange fellows, but
you were saying that you were gonna make a phone call.
yeah, I've just figured like, yeah, what were the other characters' occupations again?
There's two soldiers, and I don't remember what Arlian is. I think he's a martial artist.
I'll just go with the one who. Yeah, I'll just here.
Pick any
I'll
of
just
the
roll
soldiers.
d4. One of them, one Thursday being them, and the fourth being you can
And then
choose.
there's a waitress too.
2.
Hold on, how Arrow does have two characters down here? So Trevor is the waitress? No.
I'm not sure where Trevor came from. It's not my character.
No, I think
That was
Ruby
fine.
is your character. She's the waitress, right? Ruby?
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
she was.
There, I got it now. Alright. So, you make the phone call. Do you want to roll as to who you call, or do you want to pick who you call?
I just rolled a 2.
Very well. So you're calling Arlian.
Yes, what's your character's name, Arlen?
Arlian, what's the name of your character? Holy cow, 99. Arlian, you there? Oh, he crashed. Okay. Now he's back. Hey, Arlian,
Hello?
are you there?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
So what's your character's name?
Sorry. The name is Daniel.
Daniel.
He's an Aquarian, and at that point he would probably be in his, well, shop that whose ownership he shares with guy that's selling traditional medicine.
Improvements are happening. You got a regular name, man. That's awesome. All right.
Daniel, this is Frederick. Yes, I have a quite queer situation on my hands. I dare say one of my dear coworkers' students has, well, passed out, rolled their eyes like into their head, and speaking fluent Latin. Last time I checked, neither me nor them taught that, at least not that well, and wrote these strange runes in their notebook. Would you be willing to come by later and help out?
Tell me I'm not a
I
good
don't
teacher
have any
without telling me I'm
problem.
not a good teacher.
Hey, just because they're teaching their students Latin, and most of their students don't learn Latin, doesn't mean they're not a good teacher. A lot of students just don't care about languages.
Well,
I know,
no,
I was one of them.
yes, I know, but well, it was quite clear on how she was doing it, and that she, passed out.
I mean, I don't mind popping in, and I do have some books here at the store, so
Yes.
I don't think they contain anything that can be of use to you or your students, but I can bring them. Some of them are written more like fantasy than anything else, but
In that right there should bring an intelligence roll. Whether you or Arrow, boom, intelligence right there.
ooh,
The yellow bulb
my
comes up.
intelligence bad.
Books.
You-
Books. As I was
My
mentioned
life is gonna be
previously,
terrible today.
I think it was by the nurse or maybe by another student. There are plenty of books at not only at the library but also at the university where you are teaching right now that you can go look at, and there's also books at Arlian's bookstore. So books.
Bookstore / antiquary, mostly bookstore.
Yes, well, I quite frankly don't care about the source as long as it could give us any sort of tip. Truth is often stranger than fiction, as you know.
I'm familiar. I'll bring them over.
Thank you, and see you soon.
I'll see you soon. Just let me grab my thing.
All right, so we're gonna introduce the other two characters. So Zach and Francis, you guys pretty much were in the army, and you guys just got transferred to Arkham. Ultimately, today's your day off. You decided that you want to sightsee the town. You kind of want to see what everything is about and discover new things and learn as much as you can from the town and that you want to start by taking a look at this oh so famous Arkham University College, which seems to be known nationwide. So therefore, you two that morning just decided to go to the university to visit it. Now, as you are going to the university, you notice that two nurses are loading somebody on a stretcher on an ambulance. The right after the lady goes onto the ambulance, the two gentlemen close the back door, but the ambulance don't start right away. They are there doing something. And obviously you guys are walking up the stairs, still facing forward, so you guys would have passed the truck. However, if any of you happens to turn around, just curious as to what's happening, because you're in the back of your head, you're probably thinking, well, you know what, somebody's being loaded into an ambulance. That ambulance is obviously in a hurry, so it's going to be taken off soon. But seconds go by and you still don't hear the ambulance going. Minutes go by and the ambulance is still there as you're walking.
Is someone in the driver's seat?
So no. Two of the gentlemen were on the back of the ambulance with the lady. And ultimately, after a couple minutes, the ambulance takes off. When the ambulance takes off, you hear a noise. Something like, and then the noise of the ambulance just leaving.
I didn't hear anything.
Do you hear back? Do you look back?
Well, yeah, I would look back.
Okay. Pretty much the noise you heard was something falling. So when you look back, you can see the stretcher pretty much on the ground. It seems that that's what fell back. And with a body on the stretcher, which seems to resemble the person that was being loaded onto the ambulance.
All right. Well, I'll run over and see what the heck.
Well, do you let
Is she? So she's strapped into the.
do you let Francis know?
Oh yeah, hey, Francis. This lady just fell out of the back of the ambulance. They drove away.
All right.
Francis frowns and, I guess, investigates with him.
Yeah. So I'm assuming she's like strapped in and everything, right?
No, she's not. She's not strapped in. Her skin has a very palish, dark color. She looks extremely skinny, like super, like a lot more skinny than what she was when she was loaded into the ambulance, based on what you recall from what you've seen. It's almost like all her flesh just got all the water from her body just got sucked in, and she's just bones wrapped into this skin suit. where the flesh is just doesn't seem to be there.
Would I be able to do something with first aid? It sounds like she's kind of lost cause. I mean, get her water. I don't know.
I mean, you can probably determine with first aid if she's dead or not. But then again, she
Yeah.
looks pretty dead. She doesn't seem to be breathing.
No, not even worth it. Oh, okay. Hey, Francis, I think she's dead.
I didn't get a good look at her prior to being loaded, so I don't know if she was like that or not when they loaded her in there. But
I have a
the
feeling
fact
not.
that she's not that they left her, something's strange there.
So
Yeah, should we tell someone?
as that is going on, the two teachers plus the shaman are exiting the university, and they seem to be going, whatever it is that they're going. Pretty much, they're done with the university day. So
Well, hopefully that poor girl gets better soon. A damn shame. She had a promising future, as far as I could tell.
That should probably be fine.
yeah, should be
Although she's gonna have one hell of a headache.
Excuse me, who are you two? As he, points his fingers between the two of you.
to Francis and Zach.
Yes, because you're not students, and you're certainly not alumni.
I mean, we'd be standing by the body, right?
Yep.
And good God, what the bloody hell is...
This chick fell out of the ambulance. The ambulance put her in there, sat there for a few seconds, and then they drove away. As they drove away, I heard this thing fall out of the back, and she looks pretty dead.
I assure you she was alive when she left my classroom.
Are you sure
is
that's
it-
what happened?
Is it the girl that was in the class, or is it somebody else? Can you guys identify her?
Yeah,
Well,
Can we even
unfortunately,
identify
when
her?
it comes to identifying her, considering that she just looks like bones wrapped on skin without any flesh at all, you are probably gonna need to roll, something.
But with
To do
deductive
that.
reasoning, how many other ambulances came to the university?
Well, you can make the assumption that it's her, definitely. But
It-
obviously
it's
she's
wearing
not
her
gonna
clothing.
she's not gonna look necessarily the same. Although you can go by the clothing. The clothing is definitely the same.
What the hell happened? It's certainly her clothing, but I can't...
Yeah, pretty dead.
Yes, quite. Bloody... What do you make of this as I'm looking to Erland's character?
On the
Arrow's-
record,
I meant
Um,
Arrow's character.
I kind of squat down to take a closer look at her. Maybe this is the more advanced stages of the affliction she had in the classroom.
Yeah, I've heard many of affliction, but I doubt it'd be this fast.
Who wants
The
to
alternative is someone in the ambulance did this to her.
Who wants to do spy hidden?
I will.
I can do it.
I can do it as well.
My character is too flabbergasted at the sight.
Extreme
Alright,
success.
so As you guys kind of touch her to check, her pulse and see if she's alive, and you're looking at her, the wind just blows her blouse away. I mean, open, not away. But don't worry, you don't get to see anything sexual because since she doesn't have any fat stored on her body because she's just skins and bones. She just has her skin, and you notice that on her chest there are some markings that at first they look almost like they are tattooed. But then you notice that they are not tattoos. They're actually scars. Burn scars. It's almost as if she was branded. With these runes of sorts.
Oh.
I'm like,
You
are
said
these?
sword.
Can you describe them?
Yeah, did they match the ones that she was scribbling down?
They are very, very similar to what she was scribbling down. Almost as if they include what she was scribbling down and more.
Isn't
It's
Wilbur,
like
isn't this what?
she's got runes all the way from her waist, almost up to the neck.
Wilbur, isn't this similar as to what she was scribbling?
My name's Joshua, but
Oh, sorry.
yes. You're good.
Yeah, I was trying to find your character. I'm like, okay, what character are you? I'm not seeing a Joshua down there. My bad.
You're right. It was a comic moment. They seem very similar to the markings she was scrolling down. Do you think these could have been self-inflicted? I highly doubt a young lady would allow someone to brand her chest like this.
I dare say no young woman would have the pain tolerance to do this multiple times. Besides, you saw her condition. She could. I don't think she was even aware of what's happening outside her periphery. Or she.
I suppose it's possible it happened after the fit, assuming that this strange condition of her body happened very quickly. Perhaps she didn't have them the last time we saw her.
I'm going to get the dean. You two.
Yeah.
This is too much. I'm like, I'm just going.
Look at
Can
Francis.
I
Acts
attempt
like
to
he's
roll
never
a
seen a dead
cult?
body before.
Keeper, can I attempt to roll a cult?
Yeah.
Did
sure
you roll
can.
it?
I don't see any rolls yet. There we go. Yeah, you did pretty good.
Damn.
All right. So you notice that those runes are very different than your typical runes. I mean, they have a meaning, and you recall from back in the day that there was something, a story about runes, about this entity that had to do with runes, but you just, it's really, really, it's been a long time. So, but at the same time, you do recall that in order to have something like that, they wouldn't be able to be here because, as far as you know, the people that back in the day, from the story that you heard about the runes, was back in the West, like around California and some of that. So you're not aware that they are here. So it's kind of strange to you. Francis,
So,
your character, as much as he continues looking at her and you just listen to everybody, you notice that there's tire marks on the road. The car seems to have left at quite a high speed when, at least for the vehicles of the 20s, right? And when it left some tire marks right there, and in every single area where it stopped, or whether it was to turn or just. So, what do you all want to do?
so it seems you're
Currently informing the
to-
dean.
Arleon, does your character mention that you recognize them?
He
I mean,
does
why-
recognize. I mean, he does remember something about it. He's just not specific as to what they mean. The runes. But he does know that it does have to do with some sort of evil stuff. But he never seen him, and it was part of a story that he heard before from possibly a long lost family member, which was also into the occult stuff. That might have gave him the story of how they use the runes to communicate and to take energy and whatnot.
I heard of something similar, but I don't know any specific,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Francis, were you talking a minute ago?
Yeah. I don't. There isn't enough pieces of a puzzle for him to pay attention to something like that. I mean, you didn't see anybody harm the girl. She just ends up outside of the ambulance.
Yep.
And then the ambulance takes off. I mean, he can assume that they had another call or something, but he doesn't understand what's going on.
Well, at the very least, you will. I'm assuming, right? You will find it weird that an ambulance loaded up a body, and then, I mean, all of a sudden, everybody seems surprised that she looks the way she does because she didn't look that way before. So you get that, definitely. And then also, you probably, I would assume, you will be surprised that the ambulance took off the way it took off, even if it was in a hurry. When you arrived, they were taking their time to take the body onto the ambulance, and they didn't take off right away. But then all of a sudden, the body fell from the ambulance, but nobody came back to claim it.
Well, if we could locate that ambulance or have someone chase it down, we might be able to get some answers from the driver.
Well, you do notice that the ambulance have left you, I guess, breadcrumbs, tar marks.
Yeah, but in this age, I don't know how we would even begin to, follow tire marks without. I mean, we don't have
I think
any.
we even have the necessary resources without any connections to the police.
I mean, we
I
can
don't
observe
know.
Is there anything special about the tire marks besides the fact that
Well,
there's
the
tire marks?
fact that probably give you an indication that the person driving doesn't necessarily know how to drive. They seem to
Or
be
that they're
like
just
they seem to be taking off really really fast and then stopping really really fast at the same time.
at the very least they're reckless about it, so they might crash.
And there's and there's a trail of tire marks every time we stop. I imagine that's the case.
Say that again.
I said, and if they keep stopping and starting so hard, there should be a trail of tire tracks like
That's what I said.
at each
Yeah.
stop.
Skid marks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Francis, do you want to
There's
follow the
that.
tire marks?
So, let's see. The professors, go ahead and roll intelligence. Actually, you know what? The shaman too. Why not?
14, hard success.
Nope.
All right.
By the way, off the record, in 1920s, it was fairly common for ambulances in hospitals to lose corpses.
All right. So,
Disturbingly common.
Arrow and Daniel, both of you give me a 1d3, please and thank you. And Keegan, so pretty much after your roll, you come to conclusions. Well, I am at the university and there's the library, so possibly, you know, you can try to research those runes, see what you can find.
That's what we were originally planning on doing, but
Yeah.
this happened, so
Arrow and Daniel suddenly start puking their brains out after they look at the lady, because eventually she opens her mouth, and when the mouth opens, some worms start coming out of her mouth, and she starts smelling really really bad.
Aren't those... When,
Oh, the corpse is putrid.
when did did you say they took her to the hospital?
She-
With you?
Yeah, she was in my class not half an hour ago.
These are signs of advanced decomposition. Like you weep.
I'm a doctor, but not that kind of doctor. I suppose we could
I-
go to the hospital, ask them,
Sure.
check the library.
Her.
Okay.
And
So, we have the possibility of going into the library to look at books. We have the possibility of the body decomposing a little too fast. And also we have the tire marks that have been left off pretty much at every single stop by the driver. What would you like to do?
I'll
gonna
try
put my
to
act
follow
into-
the tire marks.
yeah,
We
well,
can track down the driver.
well, since I don't speak much Latin, I'm afraid, I doubt I'd be much use if here, unless you want me here, Joshua.
You're familiar with the university. I think you and I tackling the library seems logical. Perhaps
Yes.
our two men in uniform could track the car.
Fair
I'm
enough, then our,
familiar with books, so maybe I can help there.
yes, hopefully you might recognize anything more with these occultish runes on her. poor dear. Anyways, I've alerted the dean, and they'll he'll take care of the body. I'm afraid.
All right.
Yeah, well, I don't envy whoever needs to inform her parents.
Yes, quite. Well, anyways, do you two have a means of taking care of yourselves should things go awry?
Us?
Yes, the two army men. I don't know if you have guns on you or not.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I got guns.
I'm always packing.
Well, good to know, just in case. Never, don't want you to go into a situation unprepared.
Always.
My parents might mail me.
All right. So so where to first then? The library, or what?
Say library just because we're already there and those who can have their scene once we're done.
Yeah, just
That
have them
sounds-
follow me.
Yeah, this is happening while they're following.
Very well.
Yeah, I was
So-
gonna check different runic languages to find a match and look for any like diseases that match the description.
Perfect. All right.
Who's
At
Fred?
the library, you all need to roll pretty much
Arrows.
library use, and we'll see what is it that you guys find.
God
Oh,
damn.
come on. I mean, I
Oh,
guess we can
Oh.
keep doing it.
oh, Earlier, my friend, you're just
I'm
killing
getting
yourself.
kicked out.
All
I'm
right,
going to get
so
kicked out of this library.
did anybody pass the roll?
Joshua did.
No one.
I did.
All right. So Joshua, you're going to find. You don't find anything when it comes to the natural decomposition as to how can it be accelerated in such way to look naturally, and also it is baffling to you as to, even though if it was accelerated in such way, how would it be possible that the body would already have worms inside? But you do locate a very strange book. That. It's pretty much not necessarily a book. It's more of a notebook that was written down and just passed along over there. And most importantly, in the book, there's an explanation about some rooms that apparently a very old being states that a very old being, as old as time itself, has always ruled the universe, and that everybody is a slave of him, and people that tend to try to control him are into doing things with runes, trying to cast those spells with runes, and in an attempt to go back to time. And there is also an explanation as to how, by doing some of those spells, by using some of those runes, a spell can be cast to absorb somebody's lifespan, like life force, and become younger. Along with the book, go ahead and roll a 1d3, please. Thank you. Or the notebook. You get that.
Cool.
Go ahead and roll a.
So would
Actually, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say that that is a spell that you can use right away, because it's not necessarily gonna be a spell. It's gonna be more of a ritual that you can pretty much just copy out of seeing the pentagram from the book. But again, it's gonna take you. Let's see. There's 5 of you. So each time you're gonna cast it, you're gonna have to roll a 1d5 and see how many of your investigators are going to be involved in that spell. Also, due to how overpowered that spell seems to be, you're gonna be able to cast it somewhere, and that spell will stay there. Meaning that if you step out of that area, you know, the protection just goes away. And for as long as you stay in that area, doing whatever it is you're gonna do, you'll be able to be immune to magical attacks. And that also the spell protects you from any kind of non-earthly beings to be able to cross any doors or entrances or areas where you draw that pentagram thingy.
Okay.
So you can pretty much have a whole house or a whole building, you know, protected, and they wouldn't be able to penetrate.
Okay.
So the next thing that
I,
happens, as you collect that, you guys go to the one of the tables over there. Once you had the book, you start looking at it, and everybody's just sitting down talking, I'm assuming, as to how amazed you guys are as to what you just seen with that body, how incredible it is that something like that will happen to her.
No, we're mortified and how horrific that something can happen in such a short amount of time.
Exactly. So, however, you see the weirdest thing ever. So go ahead, and this time around you're going to need to roll spot hidden, because this is not very noticeable. Very well. Arrow, as you're looking at the book, you kind of look up, and when you look up, you look straight to the bookshelves. The bookshelves are kind of sideways to you, so you pretty much can see at least through the first 4 bookshelves in front of you. And when you look at the bookshelves, you see that somebody is walking behind the bookshelves, right, on the opposite side. But that person didn't seem to walk all the way to there to just show up. It's almost like it just appeared from the bookshelf and started walking. And he just started looking for information, for books, whatever. You never seen that person walking from the door either. It's definitely a person that when you guys arrived there, you didn't notice him there. But he seems to be there.
I shush the group and gesture to look at the mysterious person.
Slightly.
He's wearing a raincoat, a hat, um, a suit under it. Not like an expensive suit, just a suit. He's very much dressed like a typical private investigator would.
I'm just looking as if I'm scratching my lower back, but grabbing my 45. Just get ready.
I mean, I don't see anything weird in that. Just because we didn't see him initially doesn't mean there's anything weird.
This entire day has been weird. The normal is the weird now.
Last time we trusted individuals that we didn't exactly know that the situation outside happened.
Trust him.
I would like to get the
Trusted
heck out of
medical
here.
worker who
So what? What, Erlen?
nearly drove a student of yours who died and then lost the corpse. And that last one, he looked a bit sick.
Okay, well. So this person is looking.
Regardless of what he's up to, I don't feel like sticking around here. I'm going to take the book. Getting out of here.
Okay, so you guys have decided to leave.
My plan is to head to my office and cast the spell that I discovered to have at least like a safe room.
In your office.
Yeah, I'll like follow him. Like, yes, well,
Okay.
Gentlemen, well, I hope you have a wonderful day. Joshua and I have to grade papers. Just to keep up appearances.
Okay.
I'll do some more reading. I
Well,
got
but the
some,
book is not
some
there
interesting
anymore.
things back at the store, and I want to take a chance to well, do some research.
On what?
Good work. Good
Maybe
idea.
they're-
I hope you two are able to get a mode of transportation for yourselves.
What kind of research are you trying to do?
I don't even know why I'm here.
So, all right.
I'm just.
Who's gonna go
This
to
is
the
me trying
office
to
with Aaron?
subtly enact like the ideas what you guys can do.
Who's gonna go to the office with
Like-
Arrow?
I've like my character's being thrown into this. Like this happened, Martin, in a fucking city, not on an expedition. So he is in the unknown. So he's doing what he can and following along with his coworker.
Okay.
Yep. And
Who
my
else
character
is
is
going
just
with him?
scared. Ward off whatever's happening. The student
else
just
is
died
going-
and he thinks it's gonna happen to him. He saw worms and started throwing up. He had a great time.
Okay. So, again, I asked,
I figured it'd be
who's
best
gonna
at
go with
least
Arrow to her office, or
the
stay
least
there to do something
two
else,
people least
or do
capable
something
of
completely different?
defending themselves, actually sticking together.
Yep. I also have some skills with a gun. Because
So,
apparently we both made Indiana Jones.
Yep.
who is Indiana Jones?
I mean, 1920s archaeology was a risky business.
All right. So let me ask directly then, Arlen.
Yeah, because it was more like grave robbing.
All right, I'm
It
sorry, I was
wasn't more
talking, I
like
was
it was
muted.
pure grave robbing.
So, who's gonna go with Arrow to her office?
I am.
Okay. Who is going to do something else? I mean, I know that Erlian said that he wants to do more research. So I want to know what kind of research are you going to do?
Honestly, I want to do a bit more research into the runes, but because we found the book, that means I have reference material to use as a starting point.
Okay. And what are the soldiers going to do?
Yeah, I was following the tire track.
Okay, so you went to follow a tire track. So you didn't go into the library at all?
No.
Okay, what about Francis? Francis, did you go follow the tire tracks?
Well, if my buddy's going, and then he's going.
Okay. All right, so then you two started walking behind the tire tracks. And go ahead and roll. Actually, no, don't roll anything. You guys walk about 2 miles, and you finally get to an abandoned house. The ambulance seems to be parked up front. We're gonna go ahead and say that on you guys, because you're soldiers, you have what, 9mm weapons? That be okay?
45.
45.
I
Okay,
had a 45 revolver.
fine. Okay, 45. So you're armed pretty much at all times. But you do notice that the ambulance seems to be parked there. The house that the ambulance parked right next to is not in a good shape at all. It's an old house. It seems to be broken. You can clearly see holes in the roof from just walking to it. Windows seem to be broken. It's not in good shape at all. A lot of the windows are boarded. What do you guys want to do?
I want to investigate the ambulance.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was gonna
look,
see. Yeah,
look through it really, really good.
All right. The ambulance. Go ahead and roll luck. Let's see if the ambulance is locked or not. Okay. The ambulance is pretty much locked and unlocked at the same time. So it's all locked with the exception of the back door. They left it unlocked. I guess they never cared to close it after the body just fell out of the ambulance.
Even with an extreme success?
Yeah, they have access to it.
Okay.
The driver's door and the passenger's door is locked, but they can unlock the door from the back. So it's not anything that would stop them.
I just didn't know how. I didn't know how ambulances works.
Yeah, no, it's all right. So go ahead and roll spotting. Since you want to check on the ambulance. All right. So the ambulance looks extremely weird to you. It doesn't necessarily have any medical equipment in there. It seems to have some bottles that they seem to be full of water. They seem to have some handcuffs, some chains. And when you look at the ceiling and the walls on the ambulance, something happened with stuff looks like it's been burned. It's almost as if a fire went on inside of the ambulance and the smoke kind of tinted everything. That's what it looks like in there.
Okay, so the bottle of water, he's gonna. Does it have a cap on it?
Yes.
So he's going to open one and just kind of smell it.
The water smells very much like sweat.
Okay, so like that, the water that may have been in a human being, for instance?
I cannot answer that. That is
He's
up
going
to
to dip
you
it-
to make that
that-
assumption.
He's going to dip a finger in it and kind of rub it between his fingers.
Well, it's very watery, like I said. It's also a little bit oily at the same time. Not too oily, but mostly watery. It does smell like sweat. Not like your sweat, obviously, but like somebody's
So,
sweat.
so Francis, he's a can short, of course, but seeing a body that's completely emaciated, that looked like it was just skin and bones, and then now seeing water like this that smells and reacts this way, can you make a correlation that it's possible it could have been the
If you
water
want
that was
to,
in her
sure.
body?
If you want to, sure.
I mean, he doesn't have any skills that would.
No, but if you wanna, if that's what you want to think, that's fine.
I mean, the body looked like the light was sucked out of it, so it makes sense.
Is there anything else besides these bottles of water in here?
No, just that.
I'm gonna pocket those handcuffs.
That and and like I told you, the fact that the whole ambulance just seems to be tinted with that black color that the smoke leaves when something burns.
Okay, so it's a 1920s ambulance, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he is going to break off the gear handle completely, so they can't
Okay.
get away.
Sure. All right. So what are you gonna use to break that? Just your hands, or
Yeah, he's just going to use brute strength to break
Okay.
it.
go ahead and roll your strength then.
He failed.
All right. Maybe you want to ask your
No,
body over there to help you.
No, he'll just pull his knife and just flatten all the tires.
Okay. That's fine. You flat all the tires.
Did the ambulance like smell? Like I imagine as
It
soldiers,
smells like
you
burn.
Maybe have the not like burning flesh though.
No.
Would there be a distinction?
Actually, the smell of sweat from the bottles, unless you get your fingers or the bottle close to your nose, you probably wouldn't smell it because of how strong the smell of burnt is inside of the ambulance.
Hey Francis, how much money would you give me to take a sip out of the bottle?
Just dip your finger if you're gonna take some. Just dip your finger in. You don't need to drink the whole thing.
All right, I'll dump my finger in. Take a drop.
You know, need a little bit of extra sodium. Take a little drink.
Yeah. And you get that bump.
I'm assuming y'all were in the Marine Corps.
I didn't exist then, but so it's like we're the starters.
Like I said, we're a couple cans short. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Since you're willing to drink a bodily fluid, they have no idea where it came from.
Hey, depending on when we served, we probably had, drinking a lot worse.
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah,
never know.
definitely
I'm just gonna take one.
Ukrainians short.
You never know when you might need it.
All right.
All right,
So
do you want to check out the house?
give me just a
We're gonna
second
probably leave.
before we get to that. So you guys are checking the ambulance because that would have taken some time. Plus walking over there. Granted that you didn't walk that far, but the people at the university. So do you guys All go to the. I think Arlian was trying to do some investigating on something else, right?
Some additional research while using the book she found.
Okay.
Or
Well, she's
he,
taking the book with her to her office.
as a reference material, because now I have a name of the book, correct?
Yes.
I have the name of the writer and the basics of what was inside, basic concept of content.
So
So
okay, but
I can use the information as reference material. It's not reliable,
all right. So you're
but
gonna stay at the library then to look for that stuff.
yes, I'm going to stay in the library to do some more reading.
All right. So you stay
Reading
at
and
the library.
research.
Arrow and Sack, you guys are going to the office to look for things. Okay, so Arrow, go ahead and you do the spell. You copy that spell that is on the book, and I'm assuming that while you're doing that, Zach is probably gonna be
Fred.
a little amazed about it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I probably take the time to also learn it so I can do it at my place then.
And all right, so long story short, this you do it, and you notice how this white light just covers the entrance, the door, the edges of the door, and the window that you may have to the outside. And now that white light just kind of disappears. It kind of glowed for a moment, and it kind of glowed for a moment, and it just disappeared. So go ahead and roll sanity, both of you.
28.
Why is it rolling that way? Weird. All right, so go ahead and roll a. Actually, no, you don't. You don't lose any sanity because you don't really understand what the heck is going on. You just saw some light, so it's not gonna affect you that bad. So what is it exactly that you're looking for in the book, Era?
Oh, me?
Well, I thought Arrow was reading the book.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
If you're talking Arrow, you're muted.
Hello?
Hello.
We can hear you now.
Yep, I was muted.
So
Oh,
what
we
is
were
it
both
that you're
muted.
looking for in the book?
Yeah, my character was more or less in a bit of a panic, so the plan was to cast a spell in my office and then look for like a way to ward these things off or make it stop.
Well,
Or
you
prevent
don't
it from
necessarily
happening
find a
again.
way to ward things off. After trying to read and translate everything that says in the book, you come up with a word. That word says Chronos.
Can I do an occult on that then? Let's see what I know
You
about
sure can.
Chronos.
Yes, you sure can.
I am spending a luck because no, I refuse.
All right, so you remember that Chronos just happened to be, for the longest time, you just it's been that name. It's been assigned also to who the entity that supposedly reigns over time,
The
controls
Greek
time.
god of time.
Sort of, yeah. The Greeks would have called it the god of time, yes. And also, if you want to use the library later to look for that, you can too. I mean, you will just find typical lore for that. Ultimately, nothing too crazy.
Well, that's quite clear. Why?
what region did we find this book again?
You would find that in science fiction.
Yes. Why? Like, I meant, like, what part of the world? Like, did
Arkham?
it, like, did it come from, like, a Portuguese, like, writer
Oh,
or
you
something
mean
like
what
that?
language the book is in?
Yeah.
Okay. So most of the book, because it's not really a book, it's actually a written down, a diary type thing or notebook. That is a translation that was written in English. However, it gives you a good translation about some of the runes. And granted that it doesn't make sense on much of what it says, unfortunately, to you. Um, but you do understand certain passages, and the one that you understand is where it says Chronos. And it does give an explanation as to. We're gonna go ahead and say that it does give an explanation as to how Kronos guards time, and only with his blessing you shall be able to move from one point to the next.
Yes, that. Yeah, basically my thought process is, how. Why would Kronos, a god of time, end up in this certain region, you know? Like, this feels off. Like, how would they know of Kronos? Like, I don't believe he is quite well known. Hmm. No matter. No good crying over spilt milk. Well, cheese and crackers.
So,
Is this little ritual of yours done?
Arlian, go ahead and roll spot hidden since you're looking for stuff at the library.
Not hidden. 34 out of 55. Regular success.
Okay. So you find some. You find some books, written, about Greek lore, talking about the Greek gods and what each one of them does, and how all the gods ultimately come from the Titans, and Kronos is considered a Titan, and just lore.
Just standard stories.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yep. At
To
that
be perfectly
point in
honest, I
time,
didn't expect.
this gentleman wearing a raincoat, a hat, short hat, and just comes, looks at you, and is like, "Oh, hi. You know what? That is very interesting reading. I'm into some of that reading myself too. I can never have enough of Greek mythology. It's
Yeah,
very, very interesting. Um,
yeah, Greeks
have,
do have fascinating mythology.
yeah, have you managed to
In more
find
ways than
anything?
one.
He says, have you managed to find anything interesting lately about that? Somebody told me something about some sort of strange writings or something like that will explain some of the weird stuff that appears in some of the books. I found a book a couple of weeks ago that had some very strange markings and runes, and I couldn't make sense of it. So I was coming to look for some information, and since I see you holding that book, I figured I asked you.
I'm afraid I'm not really familiar with more eccentric literature, but I mostly read that for my own personal pleasure and curiosity.
Oh, okay, all right, all right. Well,
But
I
if
do
you're
not want to.
referring to if you're referring to stories about Kronos being capable of being contacted, then I'm afraid
Oh,
I'm afraid that book has already been taken.
I see. I see. And how do you know it's been taken?